When referring to an author, make sure that you don't call them by just their first name. The reason you want to avoid that is because it's too informal. It implies that you actually know that person on a first name basis, and in most cases, you probably aren't on a first name basis with the author. And in most cases, you're trying to write formally, so you want to call them by their full name the first time you refer to them. So when referring to an author, use their full name the first time you refer to them. After that, you can still refer to them by their full name. You can change it up and call them by their last name only, but you should never refer to them by their first name only. So here are some examples. Mike Rose is the name of an author. In my paper, the first time I write about him and I refer to him, I would refer to him as Mike Rose. After that, I can refer to him by last name only, which would just be Rose. I could also still keep calling him Mike Rose. You're going to switch it up, that way you don't feel too repetitive. But I should never, and you should never, refer to him as only Mike, because that's too informal, that's just his first name. Let's look at an example with somebody who has two last names. So Tressie McMillan Cotton, she has two last names. The first time I refer to her, I use her full name. And then after that, when I only use her last name, I'll use both of her last names, McMillan Cotton, and I'll never refer to her by her first name, only Tressie. Let's look at an example if you use an article that has two authors. The first time you refer to the authors of the article, refer to both of them. So here's an example. You would say Donald Bartlett and James Steele. After that, you can refer to them by only their last names, and you'd want to mention both of them, not just one. So you would refer to them as Bartlett and Steele. You would never call them by just their first name, so never just Donald and James. Let's look at an example of an article that has three or more authors. So all three authors are Alex Olshansky, Robert Peasley, and Ashley Landrum. That would be all of their full names. In MLA, whenever you have three or more authors, you can use the Latin phrase et al., which basically means and everybody else. So you would refer to the first author who's listed on the article, and then everybody else would get wrapped up in the phrase et al. So here you can see Olshansky et al. Olshansky because he was the first one listed on the article, and et al. Covers Robert Peasley and Ashley Landrum. You would never refer to them as Alex at all. Alex is the first author's first name. You would never want to do that. It's last name only.